Kenyans in diaspora sent home 55 billion shillings in August 2025. In the past 12 months to August, remittances were up by 9% to 656 billion Kenyan shillings from 600 billion Kenyan shillings in the previous year. Diaspora remittances are now Kenya's biggest source of foreign exchange.
In 2024 alone, we sent home nearly $5 billion. That's 640 billion shillings. So we are actually the biggest source of foreign exchange, bigger than tourism. I mean, agriculture alone is just $1.3 billion worth of foreign exchange. So compare that with almost $5 billion.
In most cases, Kenya's politics is usually analyzed through the lens of Nairobi power brokers, regional kingpins, and shifting alliances at home. But what if I told you there is a political force outside our borders, unseen in rallies, absent in parliament, but crucial in shaping Kenya's present and future? I am talking about the Kenyan diaspora. Today, let's unpack the economic weight, political influence, and contradictions, and future prospects of Kenyans abroad, and why ignoring them could be one of the biggest mistakes for Kenya's political elite. Kenyans abroad are sending more money than what tea, coffee, or even tourism brings into the country. These funds sustain households, pay school fees, build houses, and stimulate rural economies. Our politicians know this. That's why they often campaign on promises to make it easier to send money, reduce transfer costs, or even create diaspora bonds. Yet here lies a paradox. The diaspora is essential economically but treated as peripheral politically. The money is welcomed, but their voice is constrained. But this is going to change in 2027 because the diaspora is becoming more involved in Kenyan politics. They are shaping public agenda. They are shaping public opinions on Twitter and many other platforms. Kenyan leaders never miss a chance to rally diaspora communities during foreign trips. Raila Odinga has filled halls in Washington and London. We've seen Rigiji doing the same. We've seen President William Ruto doing the same, meeting Kenyans in the US, Qatar, Europe. We also saw President Uhuru do the same while he was in office. These rallies are not just for the diaspora. They are political theater for Kenyans back home. Leaders use them to project global recognition and credibility. Packed Hall in New Jersey sends a message back home. Look, even abroad, Kenyans support me. In August, actually July and August, we saw Matiang'i and Rigiji in the United States rallying Kenyans in the diaspora to back the united opposition, so that they are able to follow President Ruto in 2027. And in this case, they were not just seeking their support. Instead, they were looking for financial support ahead of 2027 because politics is expensive. So if the opposition is able to rally the diaspora behind them, then it will become easy for their campaigns to be easily funded. Look at it this way. The diaspora has a strong financial muscle, and campaigns, as I said, they are expensive, meaning whoever presidential candidate will win the support of the diaspora community, then will have strong funding for their campaigns. However, for President Ruto, he doesn't need that funding because after all, he's the president with access to state machinery. He enjoys, privilege of incumbency and all that. He has access to all money or public resources, so he doesn't need financial support from the diaspora. But again, he needs support from the diaspora for legitimacy of his presidency, especially if he will be re-elected in 2027. This is the point as we go into 2026 and 2027, where we shall have general election. Expect more involvement of the diaspora community in Kenyan affairs, and that has even started online, especially on TikTok and X. Expect more engagement from this community because they are interested in what is happening in Kenya, and this time around they're not sitting back. And remember this, IBC in the previous general election registered 10,000 diaspora community members, and this time around that number is likely to increase. Also, you need to understand the 50% plus one rule, so meaning every vote matters in 2027. Here's the point: the Kenyan diaspora is no longer a silent partner. They are a political force whose influence is felt in remittances, in social media debates, in lobbying foreign capitals, and in shaping Kenya's international image. Yet the contradiction remains: the economic power is unmatched, but their political voice is muted. But this time around, that is going to change. So, do you think the Kenyan government should sideline a community that sustains our economy, or should we listen to this community because they play a critical role in our economy as shape our democratic process? Anyway, one thing certain: Kenya's future politics will not just be decided in Kisumu, Eldoret, or Nairobi. It will also be shaped in Washington, London, Doha, and Toronto. And any political class that ignores this reality does so at its own peril.
Accountable. We've seen people with influence and power speaking up only when they or their families are directly affected. Who protects Mama Mboga? Who protects the voiceless? You all know what happened to the then former President Donald Trump. He was held accountable by the law and had to appear in court. That is what democracy looks like. No one is above and should be above the law. Dr. Matiang'i, you want to lead our nation, and we ask you, will you stand for justice? Will you ensure that those who've caused pain and loss of lives, including William Ruto and his close allies, finally face the law? Because justice delayed is justice denied. We cannot heal a nation by pretending nothing happened.
We are Kenya! We are Kenya! Viva Kenya! Viva! Viva Tennessee! Viva! We know your tricks! We know your tricks! You are going to...
This community is not just useful to Kenya economically, but also politically. Let's wait and see how the diaspora community will shape the 2027 presidential election.
The Kenyan diaspora in